What's up, Blair? Good morning, guys. Some oscillations in the market overnight. You see, here's the NASDAQ futures spiked way lower, filled that gap already. Apparently, Apple was downgraded. Let's take a look at the headline. Down 2% after analyst downgrade. China rallies, Japan dives. Oh wow, HSBC downgraded. It's a buying opportunity, more than likely. Huh. So they lowered it by $5. That's dumb. All right, so there's our Nasdaq. Yeah, I feel okay. My son was sick last night, so I was up several times throughout the night. I'm pretty tired, and trying not to get sick again. You gonna get me sick, Ethan? It's not your fault if you do, buddy. Don't worry about it. All right, let's check out some pre-market movers. See if anything's spiking high today. So yesterday we had that big spike up in the market off of the news from the trade war. And we said that could be a one-time pop. Hopefully we can go sideways for a bit. Could meander lower, which is fine. We don't have to go straight up, at least on the indexes. That's perfectly normalized. Hopefully we don't undercut this and negate this follow-through day, as we did over here. Here was our last follow-through day, and there's a low that we undercut, only for a little bit though, before we kind of rallied back. Had some good days. Past week's been pretty good. With an Apple downgrade, which gives us this horrible looking candle right there. Hopefully we'll overcome that. Restoration Hardware up 18%, as stated earlier with IBD. Oh, look at that, barely poking out of that declining wedge in the gap, 18%. 146.60, so they're up here now. They're right there. A little high to enter. Gotta wait for a traditional breakout point after that kind of a pop. Level Brands, not sure what you are, LEVB. Jill. KDMN. SFET. Yeah, I think you are, buddy. DACLVS. WTF. None of these looking extraordinarily good so far. ALDX. Mesa. Cron up 7%. Cron was up pretty big yesterday, and then pulled back a little bit. Looks like it's up to right about there. So nothing crazy there. All right, so again, mixed markets today. We kind of expected this after yesterday's big pop. Sorry about that. All right, a couple minutes to the market open. Looks like there wasn't much to do anyways. Yeah, I was laying in bed looking at the time like, I'm super tired, but I'm also late to my stream. So let's look at IBD for a minute. So EPAM was yesterday's stock of the day. Top tech stocks flirt with buy point. We'll take a look at that article. And we'll look at EPAM. Pretty nice little base. We also have Vive up here. So Viva double bottom, there's your buy point. So try to break out the other day. Hasn't been able to close above that level. Not a great sign so far, but volume declining, higher lows. We'll see if that can get rocking. But still has yet to really solidify its move. Another one they got up here is THRC or TR8C. The 99 composite rating. So significance to the market being closed. Well, it forces them to do any buying they would do tomorrow in the day preceding or after. So I guess if you see some elevated volumes, that would show some urgency, but I don't expect that. Yeah, James likes that thing. This is an interesting little chart right here, this TRHC. I like the increasing volume here. Right there. Increases on the way up, looks pretty good. That's all they have in that article. Another article, MEDP. So MEDP, after a pretty deep decline, could consider this a double bottom, but this would negate that high, so it may just be considered a cup. This one not looking too bad though. Pausing at the high. Okay, so the market's open. There's Restoration Hardware gapping way up here out of this declining wedge. Looks like, you could have bought yesterday, but earnings were last night, so you really never want to buy right before earnings. Cron's up. That puts MJ up a little bit. A little bit. Yesterday was looking to be a good day, and MJ proved to be a kind of a distribution day. In MJ, so we're still kind of pausing in this environment. Stuck at a low around 28. So do with that what you will. Not a lot to do there. Carvana match down 5%. Square again down. course, Apple down. NASDAQ going higher a little bit after the open. There we go. Yeah, sorry, Blah. I didn't get a lot of sleep, buddy. I went to bed early, too, and then my son was sick, and I had to stay up, which is fine. Justin knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, exactly. So, best case, we rally here a little bit. Close within pretty close to yesterday's close. That would be ideal. It's just hanging out here. That would be great. So we had our follow through day. Was it there? That was our follow through day right there. Hopefully we can maintain elevated levels. That would be good. I do expect some oscillation, but in time, hopefully the trade war resolves itself and we kind of move higher out of this thing. No big broad market rally though. Yeah, I probably am going to go pretty soon though. This voice is not doing so hot today. So let's do a scan here. We'll let the market talk for me. We'll go 2% because not too much is up 2% today. Over 500 million market cap. Yeah, not too much. Restoration Hardware is only worth 3.2 billion, up 17%. A lot of these 5-letter ones are usually over the counter foreign names. Not always, but GTHX. And not much there. What's Tesla doing? Tesla could be working here, guys. Starting something. Yesterday was a pretty decent day. It was okay. I like the fact that it's trending higher like this. May not get a traditional breakout out of Tesla. I believe IB is calling this a cup with handle right here. And so this would be your entry point. Let's look at it on the weekly. So there's your cup. There's your handle right there. That red week. This would be your handle, the start of your handle. And so this would be your entry point. So ideally, you're going to have breakout volume. You're going to have all those good things happen. What's up, Eli? We'll see if we get that, though. You know, Tesla, after becoming profitable, I think is going to, start quieting all those bears finally. So the age-old question, who's left to sell, is the one that needs to be answered with Tesla. If they're finally profitable, who's going to sell it? I mean, so far, not too many people. You see a big bubble underneath the price action holding it up. So not a lot of sellers thus far. Even on the daily here, you can Really see the lack of volume spikes here, whereas before, during all this rigmarole, now most of this was Elon's doing with his big fat mouth. But getting to happier, quieter times over here. Could be back into those happier, quieter times once again, which would be good with some more bullish momentum with good earnings and stuff like that. So there's your breakout point over that red candle. About 10 cents above it is your traditional buy point. You got to see volume is accelerated. Going to be accelerated. You want greater than 40% of average volume, 50-day average volume in the stock market. And yeah, we'll see what happens there. Looks like Regeneron working on a good day here. After it was stuck down the dumps, holding really good. Had some moves, went down to the dumps. Looks like coming back fairly strong. That's a good sign. What else do we have here? HCC, which is our coal play. Looks like came back down, retested those lows, undercut, putting in a double bottom. So this would be your buy point up there at 74 or change. INS still holding strong. Still has not broken out. However, maintaining elevated lows, which is very bullish. We'll have to see how that is going forward. O'Reilly, wow. Living in an elevated base. It's like a 3 weeks tight pattern right there that failed. The pattern itself didn't fail. If you guys don't know what a 3 weeks tight is, 3 weeks tight patterns are 3 weekly closes within 1.5% of each other. And then your buy point is over the top of those weekly candles. So this would be your buy point right here in O'Reilly. It did deviate from that 3 weeks tight pattern in the previous week. So we'll see what happens with that. But technically this would be your buy point on a pause for O'Reilly. Breakout in immediate 3 weeks tight. Ideally, you'd like to see these higher. There's no statistics on where they have to form. But it's just an interesting chart pattern when you see a 3 weeks tight. Those are always good addition points. Quad U still oscillating around this choppy area. See, Fizz could potentially be bottoming. Looks like after earnings here, which is, it's a dividend, not earnings. When are earnings? 12/6, so earnings are in a couple of days. Gosh, man, this sucks. Hard to know what a stock is going to do after earnings. But definitely down here near a support area of about $80. You can see in the weekly going back a couple of years now. You've got some support right there, right on support. This would generally be a low-ish risk entry point. It's still going to be a pretty deep yet on 10%. I'm half tempted to, based on further analysis of the fundamentals, and I don't think I'm going to do this, but if you guys do see a very good risk-reward ratio on an earnings play, you can try to limit your exposure with options and at least limit your downside risk. So, and this is a good situation to maybe give it a try, if that's something you're intrigued in. Let me look at the fundamentals here. Pretty good. Not great, but pretty good. Yeah, not great, but pretty good. So that's kind of what we're going with there. But if they can get their footing back, $4 billion market cap, You can probably work an options play where if it goes below 80, um, you lose all of the money that you put up. But if it rallies, then you can actually make money on that. Now, if you want to play it just for an option or just for a earnings pop, how you would do this if you're authorized for options in your account. So when earnings in a couple of days, if you just want to play earnings pop for maybe a quick gain, because keep in mind we are at a support level, so that our floor may have already been laid for us. These December options have 17 days left. You could play these, and this would probably give you the lowest amount of risk. Here's your December. Here's your 80 strike price, which is is your floor. So we're at 8. So these should have $8.70 of intrinsic value, which is the difference between $80 and the current price. Okay, so if you think we're going to gap, I think we're going to go higher. Let's see what would be a good player. Hold on a minute. I'm going to go get some water. Maybe I'll talk better after some water. Absolutely, we're waiting, Eli. Absolutely. We don't know where the market's going to go. I just found an interesting scenario where Fizz is at a support level, and I think this could be an interesting point to talk about a potential earnings strategy. And I'm a little interested myself too. So first of all, with trading options, it's kind of like it's a very technical thing to do. You win under one scenario, and there's about at least 3 scenarios, and you win one of them. Good job, Ethan. So you lose options in Fizz if Fizz goes sideways or Fizz goes down. You would win in the options if Fizz goes up, and up a certain percentage. So 1 out of 4. So it's one of those situations. Oh, Eli Lilly up 0.88% there. Cool. So basically you win it like 1 out of 4. It's these trades are fairly risky, but if you get a good earnings pop, then you can make a pretty good profit. Now, because you have only a 25% expectation of a profit in this scenario, you have to trade it smart. So you got to think about where Fizz could go. You have to have some kind of a target in mind. Past couple times, Fizz has actually had earnings that hasn't. Looks like it's moved a little bit. So this one popped down. This one popped up. About 4 or 5%. You never can exactly know what a stock's going to do ahead of time. Okay, my program just froze. All right, there we go. All right, so there's kind of our trend line. I think getting up to there, 92 is fairly simple. It's about a 5% increase. So let's say it goes to 93. Okay, so let's say we're looking at, and it's not extremely profitable. this particular trade. So this would be a $13 option. So let's say you bought this for $10. You make 30% if this went up to 93. So that's kind of one way to try to play this, as you can. So for those of you new to options, you basically have your current price, which is $88, and so your in the money options would be anything lower than $88 on the call side. Well, I told you it's near a natural support level. It's near natural support with earnings coming up, so the natural impetus would be to the upside if it's sitting at a floor. So, and like I said earlier, this is kind of just, if you see a situation where you have a stock that's near a pretty clear support level and earnings are coming up and you want to play it, this is a way to limit risk. Half glass full, half glass empty, Eli. So, but either way, it's more about how to set up this kind of a trade rather than specifically trading this setup. But yeah, I'm a little interested to see if there's a great risk reward. There doesn't appear to be a great risk reward at this stage of the game. I mean, it's only a 30% increase, and that may sound like a lot if you're used to traditional stock market gains. But what you run the risk of is losing 30% as well. But one thing that the options do give you a little bit is limiting that risk. So let's say you want to buy this option, and you want to limit that risk. You can risk $1,000, and if that's an acceptable loss to you, then you can buy one option that limits your risk only to $1,000. You're not going to lose more than that $1,000. Or like if you buy one of these out here to 102, I'm not advocating doing that because that's very unrealistic. In fact, don't do this. But if you buy this one, this 20 cents is actually $20, 55 cents is actually $55, and you limit your risk to that money only. So unlike buying the stock and having risk all the way down, you buy the option with the amount that you're comfortable losing, and if it rallies, you're gonna make money. Like I said, you have 1 in 4 chance of making money with an option. Okay, 80% of options expire worthless, but in an extremely volatile situation like with earnings, there is a possibility that earnings could provide a good bump out of that. So I don't know if that was very helpful or not. Check out the weekly on Fizz. Yeah, this is the weekly. Yeah. No, I see it. Trust me, I see it. I see everything, Eli. Everything. %70 of the time, I see everything 100% of the time, okay? So, but yeah, it is coming down to a pretty natural support level. And yeah, that would be your stop, is that $80 level. Anyway, just thought that was interesting. Let's take a look at Eli Lilly. So, breakout the other day on Eli Lilly right there. Looks like continuing higher today. Thank goodness. That day, this day right there where it actually broke out, I think that previous day, did it close lower? Closed right on the buy, right underneath the buy point. So this was a breakout day. Most of this volume came in from a dark pool. This came in, and so what happened? What that means is that this closed. All that dark pool volume showed up after after the fact. You're very negative, Eli. Very, very negative today. Did you get a bad night's sleep? I got a bad night's sleep. It's cold. It's getting cold over here too.
Can I open it, Daddy?
Sure. What do you like right now, Eli? Well, there's patient and there's negative. There's patient and there's negative. And you've been pretty negative today. Don't like anything I'm looking at. You hurt my feeling. Darn it, I didn't want to do that. Actually, I should probably take 3 and 4 off of here is probably what I should do. There we go. There we go. Now I can't mess it up. All right, that'll work. You just said a negative comment on Tesla earlier. Didn't you? You said something about... And you say, we'll see, it's too early. Wasn't that your comment? Thank you, Ethan. Looks like Microsoft's doing good today. Let's look at Microsoft for a minute. Liar. Oh, I thought one of these was a... I thought that was a Tesla comment. We'll see, it's too soon. We got Microsoft. What are you doing? Man, look at this run Microsoft's been on, man. Look at that. Super tight. And this is an insane market. Still is an insane market. So Microsoft looking pretty decent. A couple of green candles right there. Not too bad. Hold on a minute, guys. Hold on. And the market taking it on the chin right now. You can see the Qs on my bottom right screen. Moving towards the low of the day. Is there an app to practice like paper trade? So a lot of different platforms will give you a paper trade option. This Thinkorswim platform actually gives you a paper trade platform to trade on. So, yeah, there's lots of paper trading options. I'm sure there's apps on your phone, but I hate trading on apps on my phone. I'd much rather trade on a computer. Just my personal preference. You can paper trade in TradingView, really? How do you do that? Where's that at? That's pretty cool if you could do that. Oh, yeah, Strategy Tester, which is a form of paper trading, I think. Oh. Oh, paper trading by TradingView. Taking a long time to load. That's cool though. If it ever loads. Come back to that. Come back to that. Tesla doing good, 1.2%. Looking pretty good. Hopefully it'll keep going. Microsoft going higher, doing good. Apple, see if they're pulling back to the upside there. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's not. I could refresh here. There we go. All right, free $100,000, guys. That's how you do it. Cool. Tesla and Microsoft at buy level. So Tesla is right near a buy level. Your buy level for Tesla is actually over that line there at about the what's the high here? 366.85 is your technical buy area for Tesla. That would break it out of a. This is considered a cup with handle base. Microsoft. Yeah, looks like it's also near a buy area. The general question you're going to ask yourself is that with the market in the situation that we're in, is how much they're going to rally, and what your stop loss is, things of that nature. So, you got a breakout level here on Microsoft where we tested it yesterday and we failed back beneath it there in Microsoft. So we'll see how it happens. Eli's saying wait for a breakout and Tesla support. That's a good way to do it too. Although sometimes you don't get a Tesla support. In this market environment, you would expect to get lots of tests of support. But you never know what's going to happen. Market could turn on us and in one day we could be in rally mode. I mean, it really just takes one day from these levels while you're, what I've seen is that while you're sitting here and things are we have a follow through day, so that's a pretty big signal, and we can instantly turn into a big glowing uptrend at pretty much any moment in time. So if you've got a signal, I say at least take a partial position, and then you can add to that as we get higher. Pyramiding into your position in case we do have we go back into shaky waters or back into a correction of some type. We're not going to have a broad market rally. We discussed this a little bit yesterday. So we're not going to have like a huge rally where everything moves. We're going to have a more pointed rally where certain names and sectors move. Some stocks even in the same sector probably won't move together. It'll be a kind of a stock picker's market for a little bit. Oh, okay. Eli got the phone call from Buffett, so that's what we're going with. I think with as much cash as Buffett has, he probably makes half the buys in the stock market anyways. Microsoft making little moves this morning. Volume not very elevated today. Nvidia moving down 3%, really. Okay, yeah, it could be. Let's see what happens here with Nvidia. It is at low levels. I do like the fact that after earnings, it hasn't gone any lower. We had a couple high volume days right there, and it did drop, but it wasn't tremendous levels. Now this was a pretty good green day right there. So someone ate their fill of Nvidia on that day, and then since then we've kind of been in a pretty decent trending market. This could be if you are interested in Nvidia, could be a place to pick some. I wouldn't take full positions, but if you have positions, if you want to add a little bit, I wouldn't be adding like 10%, but if you want to add a couple percent to your position, if it has these big down days like this, 3% is pretty aggressive to the downside. So you don't add every day, but there's no major buy signal for Nvidia at this stage of the game. But if you're bottom picking what is a high quality name, I mean, this isn't something that's going to give you a return next week. This would be a longer term trade for those that are liking some of these names for longer term. But Nvidia has had a pretty big run. But look, that's a huge correction too. But I will say this, something you'll notice sometimes after you have a huge run and a huge correction, it takes a while. Like sometimes years for these to come back. Down about 55% overall, looks like. But this it looks like we pretty much came back and almost tested this prior level right there. So that longer term, it could be good. But you never do know. You never do know. Let's look at Nvidia fundamentally and see what they're doing these days. If there's slowing EPS growth, if there's so here's Nvidia, 60 composite rating out of 90 possible 99, 13th in the graphics processing unit using PCs, workstations, game consoles, and mobile devices field. Industry group 100 out of 97, so it's not very good. 32 EPS change, 91 last quarter EPS growth. So earnings have been decelerating a little bit, which is probably why it's taking it on the chin so hard. 57 EPS change for the current year, which is pretty good. Sales change is still pretty good. 3-year sales growth rate, so sales are decelerating a little bit. Pre-tax margin's really good. ROE is really good. Not sure why these are like that. Someone doesn't know how to write PHP apparently. Uptime volume, funds owning stock, quarter of increasing fund ownership, still 8. So there's still some institutions buying. So, pretty neutral. 10 relative strength rating is complete garbage, but, not something I would buy. But ideally, if you could get some kind of a reversal pattern, this could be a nice little bottoming indicator. But we'll see what happens. So, not great story fundamentally. Technically, it's not buyable. But it does look like it could be in a place where a low could form. So, but this would be a longer term trade. You have no expectation of an immediate return on this capital if you put something to work in Nvidia. Close the door, Bugs. Are you talking about in 2017, Eli? Thanks, Ethan. Yeah, so the market here today looks like down about 0.5%. We'll see. We already had a scare to the downside. It popped back up. If we get some more distribution days, we could be in trouble here, but none so far. So far, we're doing pretty good. Just maintaining. 1, 2, 3. Today's the 4th day without a distribution day, so that's good. If we can maintain that kind of action, I think we'll be okay in the upcoming couple of months. Back to a rally. So some names are running here, but it's kind of few and far between, and it's really intermittent. We're not seeing a lot of things actually like really rallying. We're seeing some pops. Restoration Hardware out of a declining wedge here with a pop after earnings. Really hard to get into that though. Cron showing some life. It was up pretty big yesterday. Got up to like 35% higher before selling off, and I think it closed like 13% higher or something like that down here. Staying elevated today is healthy. We'll see if that maintains. Oh, INSG yesterday, yeah. Tried to rally yesterday, and it ended up closing in the definite lower half of the range right there. Will be fine mid 2019, yeah, possibly. Yeah, it takes time to wear off some of this action. But like I said, if we get some, let's say China goes really good, and if the Fed like pauses interest rate hikes or something, then we could go back into bull mode pretty quickly. So it's behind you on the card. Expectation of Democrats pushing more legalization. Yeah, that could be definitely good for those MJ stocks, absolutely. But yeah, in the meantime, you just want to find really good chart patterns. Here's a pretty good one here in INSG if it can start rallying. They said they won't pause because of debt. What does that mean? Huh. I'm looking for some headlines myself on this one. Hey James, sit nicely, okay? Your brother's drawing. Yeah, we'll see. Can't find a good article real quick. Q's coming right back, so going elevated, that'd be pretty good. INSG looks like it just popped up a little bit. INSG, one of the better looking charts in the market at this stage of the game. But yeah, yesterday it had a pretty big crazy topping candle. Look at that thing. Look at that high volume topping candle. Definitely going to put a downward pressure on price. So buying here is going to be a little more difficult than it would normally be after a day like yesterday. But I think the pressure is still higher so far. I don't have a position in this name, but I do like the general trend of this pattern. Really good on the weekly. It looks really good. So we'll see if we can get elevated here. That would be great. And market's going up 0.2%. It was just up. It was just down. Oh, these are different percentages. Yeah, but market working pretty good there. So AMRN not looking great there. Lilly pulling back 0.35%. So we'll see how that continues. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Get the market reversing on us higher, which is healthy. We've got a couple things. HCC up 3%, which is pretty good. I don't think I'm muted.
You can't. James, you can color, but not this.
Hold on a second. All right. Yeah, HCC looking pretty interesting right here. Like I said, not quite sure why Cole's running, but not looking too bad. We're not getting greatly elevated volumes on some of these potential moves, but if you want to take a trade, you just kind of have to throw your hat in the ring and have good risk-reward strategies going on, good stop losses, or you just avoid trading until we see a slightly better market environment. So far, there's been no clear leaders coming into the market that I can see. What's Goose doing? Goose is doing pretty good, though. I am a fan of Goose.
That's upside down.
That's very good reaction. Look at the weekly. Look at those wicks to the downside on the weekly after the break there from the double bottom. So still within a buy range of Goose. This is probably one of the better ones in the market right now, but still patience. You have to have patience with anything at this stage of the game. So, all right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.